Tutorial, I'm going to show how to make yourself into a Hulk with Photoshop. It's a really simple tutorial. This is more meant for fun, but it actually shows a few cool little tricks in Photoshop. So this is the end result. Now you can see that this is what I started with. It's actually just a toy image, and you can obviously get anything you want for this tutorial. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this. This is what I started with. Now, the first thing you want to do is you want to get a picture of yourself. Now, for this, I'm going to use actually Photo Booth and take a picture of myself. You can see I already have one, but you can see I can make another picture as I want. I'm just going to make a funny face like the image over here. Just go. Arr. Okay, so now I have an image. I'm simply going to drag this image into Photoshop. Really simple. And it works better if you have a white background. This isn't going to be that hard to Photoshop out, but if you can position yourself with a white wall behind you, it does make a big difference. I have my shirt off, so I'm more Hulk-like. I recommend to do the same thing. And now let's go ahead and position our image and resize it. I like to use the Marquee tool. I use the shortcut M, or Marquee tool, whatever you want to pronounce it. Go like that, and I'm going to go ahead and do a layer mask right down here. Now this allows me to position it. I can now resize the image with a Command T. And we're going to resize to about the same size of our Hulk head. And it works better if you're just a tiny bit bigger. And now let's go ahead and do a rough cutout. So I'm going to use my brush tool, shortcuts B over here. And I'm going to go ahead and make this brush tool a little bit bigger using the brackets. It's the one right next to the return on the keyboard. Make it pretty big so I can just get in here and make this really rough. Now, because this is more for fun, I'm not really going to go in here and make things super nice. But if this is more for a professional thing, or you want to turn this in for a project or something, of course you would want to go more detailed in here. You can really get in here and do it very well. Another thing I strongly recommend, would be using the pen tool. For anything professional, I'm using the pen tool, and I just love it. Also, a lot of people love using like a bamboo template, something like that. I'm just going to go in here, do this really rough, and this is really more for speed than anything else. I want to get this done really quickly so we can move on to turning the face green to match. Let's go ahead and do this a little bit. Now if you mess up, don't worry, because you're using a layer mask. You can just change it back to white and get it back in here, and then go back to black and get this to be as perfect as you want. Now the layer mask obviously is, if you've watched my previous videos or you're familiar with Photoshop, wherever it's black on here is what's not being seen. And you can see this is out close enough. Obviously you can touch it up, and you can spend hours and hours in touching things up. So let's go ahead and position our image. You can see that there's definitely some touch-ups in here. Now let's resize our image a little bit to look more Hulk-like. Maybe we'll turn it a bit, make it more fun. So we have the image positioned to the right spot. Now let's just turn our face green. I like to use the effects over here. I'm going to use the hue and saturation. Now, if you use hue and saturation, you can see that it's actually going to adjust everything. And we're going to get our face to be around the same color, but you can see that it adjusts everything out here. We only want to adjust the face. So what we want to do is right click on our layer. We want to create a clipping mask. And now we want to match our colors as close as possible. You can, of course, drag it and get it to be nice, or you can use the arrows and really just get this to be as nice as possible. And of course, this is another thing you can really spend a lot of time on. So that's good enough. Now another thing you can do is you can also use the levels. I love using levels for the same thing. Create a clipping mask. You can have multiple clipping masks for the same layer. That does make things a lot nicer. And we can adjust kind of our saturation, or our contrast a little bit with our levels, and really make a big difference and make them look a little bit more like our photo. And you can play around with it. With levels, hue, saturation, these are both things I really like. You can see the difference between this and this. I have a lot more contrast. Now I look more like a Hulk. Anyway, this was a short little tutorial on how to make yourself look like a Hulk. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you like this style tutorial and you like my voice, please subscribe and like this video. And let me know what you think in the comments. Talk to you soon. Bye.